Hello, gentle viewers. This is Ab Guardian, welcoming you back to Out of the Park Baseball 24 with the Prague Metropolitans in the European Baseball League. We're entering our 10th season as manager of the Prague Metropolitans. And I think it's very difficult to call it anything other than an unqualified success. We've won 2 world titles. We've been in the playoffs every single year. And we got promoted after just 1 season. So I feel pretty good about what we've achieved as a team. But there's still more to be had here. We have consistently lacked healthy top-tier pitching that comes through in the playoffs. Amakapane is obviously the big exception. But while we had a lot of really good young pitchers, and I don't want to discount that, and we keep getting more, we've kind of become a pitching factory in this sim. Nonetheless, we do still need a bit more high-end talent. I think for me, the biggest trap is always going to be the apparent ease at which it comes in if they just, quote, got a little better. That's the trap I find myself in. I don't know how to fix that, but we haven't seen players getting better, so we'll see what happens. We also have a hard time attracting... Oh, I don't know what I'm going to do before I do anything else. I'm going to do what I did in the other series as well. I'm going to go ahead and let my minor league managers sign in and release people. I don't think we've had the issue that we did with the other league. Like, our teams aren't amazing, but they're not, like, the worst. And a big part of this, we've been so successful for so long that we've really struggled to get consistent, high-quality prospects. All this is to say, I am both in awe of how good we've been, and I am cognizant of the fact we should be doing even better. Next up on our list is what the fuck Saeed Julia. Hopefully next season he turns it around, because I award you 1 yike for how badly he's performed. Really, our offense kind of let us down last year. We didn't have a lot of top-tier offensive talent. We're still kind of trying to find ourselves. That being said, Gunter looks like a keeper. Langlet continues to be one of the better players in the league. Dima Eisner is going to get every opportunity to win the shortstop job. I know he's not the most brilliant shortstop in history, but he's still pretty solid. And he obviously offers a much higher level of offensive play than Jean-Pierre, who we're not keeping anyway. We only had him for the 1 year. Third base is going to be interesting. Pancakes is still a very long way from the major leagues, in my opinion. But he's getting there. He's close. If he excels in high A or double A, he'll probably get some consideration in the future. I don't mind Alex Godin. I think he's perfectly cromulent. He's not the best player in the league. He's not the worst. And I'm fine with that for right now. Let's take a quick look at our Rule 5 players. I don't want to lose Luchardi for nothing, and I'm going to do that if I don't add him to the 40-man. I also don't know that we need him, but that's an issue. Yeah. Valo, I'm going to remove you so I can add Luchardi. I don't really need this many mediocre catchers. Like, it is not a thing that is required. I'm going to go ahead and take you and remove you from the 40-man. And probably the same thing with Ankudovic. There we go. Merrill Young is a really interesting player to me. Oh, let's also fix the other thing. It's under players, no. And do not allow ghost players, and we'll do current ratings. There you go. Okay. Do I want to keep Merrill Young? I think I do. However, whether by happenstance or skill or whatever, my friend is not performing. He's been okay-ish, but I don't know that he's a great fit, especially for a precious 38-man a 40-man roster spot that might be filled by a free agent. So I don't know. Semyonescu is such an interesting player. He just doesn't have a clear position, and he's also fairly limited. 1 second. I'll tell you what I don't like about Semyonescu. He doesn't have secondary offensive skills. He's going to live or die by his batting average. And players that tend to die more than they live. I could potentially flip him for a better, more well-balanced prospect, and I'm going to try that now. You're a very good pitcher. I don't know that I'd like you better than him, but that's a pretty fair reliever. I'm getting a ton of offers. They just tend to be fairly underwhelming. I think I will go ahead and flip him for Mr. Homolka. We also probably need to shed a little bit of payroll. Yeah. But that's the question, where like, how do I shed that payroll? How do we get our payroll to a point where we can afford this stuff? Well, some people are going to get non-tendered. Other people are going to get traded. You know, par for the course at this point. Let us go into the arbitration page now, and let's make some decisions here. So Bonet turned into a really good starter. And he's also a captain with very durable things. And I think he's my only captain right now. Yeah. I'd like to sign him long term if we can afford it. I'd like to lock him up if we can. And it looks like he doesn't want a very big salary. That's very reasonable for a player of his caliber. I'm going to offer him this deal and hope he takes it. Evan Gallagher, I still believe in him, even if he has kind of backslid a bit. I think he's just been getting hit. No, he's actually always gotten hit. I don't know what his deal is, but I'm willing to pay a small sum for another year to find out. He's not asking for that much. Paul Murchison is such a weird dude. Like, I know the fans like him, but he's not very good. He's one of these guys that we thought was going to turn into something special, and he just never developed. Which is a shame, but it happens. And I think non-tendering him just to free up a roster spot does make some sense. So there we go. Pekarsky wants basically double his current salary, and he has been a consistently very good starting pitcher for a long time now. Do we keep the band together for one more year, or do we trade Pekarsky? The thing is, we're going to want to give some opportunities to the newest kid on the block, Mr. Luchardi here. I'll come back to Pekarsky once, see how much you're going to spend on everybody else. Matthew Merlan has actually been a fairly decent pitcher. He has pretty low salary demands. I think bringing him back makes a lot of sense. Here we go. Now, the first person who's definitely getting traded or released is going to be Zero Orphanides. I'm tired of waiting for him to become the pitcher that he's supposed to be. His love for giving up home runs is too destructive for me to keep him on the team. I know he got bounced around a lot, but he's had exactly one good season in his career, which was 2030. That's only because he started instead of relieved, and he actually did okay. I'm probably selling low on him, but I also think he's a fair bounce back candidate, so hopefully we can trade him for something interesting. A quality prospect, one might say. Alright, Ulrich Lewandowski. Lewandowski is just a good player, but he's not great at anything. I guess his biggest advantage is in a pinch he could play center, but he's also dumb as a post. And I don't think that's I don't think he's a good fit from a personality standpoint. So the top tier prospects already seem like they're quickly being washed out. Bruce Escoto is fine, I guess. Prijbavoy. Meh. I'm getting a lot of offers, but the problem is that none of them seem particularly appealing. A good defender, not a good hitter. Average, in every sense of the word. My interest in Terry here would be seeing if he can unlock his control of it. Because if he can, he could turn into a higher profile starter quite quickly. You know what? I think if I can get Demkov and Palach, I think that's what I'll take. Man, I have some sort of sick fantasy to have every mediocre catcher in the league, I guess. Our bullpen was actually kind of trash last year. I think maybe cleaning some house could do wonders for us. Vinny Sforzano should still get an interesting piece, I think. I think somebody's gonna want him. Really? Okay. I'm just gonna let him walk then. I'm not gonna pay him that much money to be not a very good pitcher. I will re-sign Treple. I do think he offers some really valuable skills, and I definitely appreciate that. Easy decision of the entire season is non-tendering Asayev. He's comically overpaid for what he actually brings to the table. So no thank you. I will reassign Julia. I don't think there's any question that I wasn't going to. Wendell Schmidt. The question with Schmidt is, at what point do we decide to move on from him? And I don't know what that point is yet. I still think he's got a lot of talent, and I still think he's got some offensive chops we just need to drag out of him, but he hasn't gotten a ton of playing time to prove it. I will say a big part of that is because Julia is weirdly not playing in the outfield, where I think he'd be a much better candidate. We're not bringing back Monomakis, so maybe that's the solution there. I would love to sign Gunter to a long-term deal. I don't think it's going to happen, though. I don't think we can afford it. Yeah, he wants to get paid a shit ton of money, and I'm not saying he doesn't deserve it, but I can't afford that right now. Maybe as some salaries get cleared off the books, we can talk about it, a giant extension for Gunter, but he's our next megastar. He does everything really, really well, and he's going to get some down-ballot MVP consideration, I bet, this year. I don't think I can keep giving Calandrini chances. He doesn't get a ton of playing time, but when he does, he hasn't earned it. He's miscast as a starter. I think if we could find ourselves a quality second baseman and let him be a reserve, I think we'd see... He costs so little money that we're not saving much by getting rid of him, but... We need a better starting second baseman. If we can get one of those, I think we'll see some nice upgrades. And to be honest with you, I'm really tempted to just let Anibal take second base. And just accept the fact he's not going to be a brilliant defender and see what that ends up with. Because Calandrini should be a backup. That is his best and most useful role. I will add Merrill Young to the 40 man. Alright. Let's advance time a bit. I like Gene Lindsay a lot, actually. I think I'm just going to remove Palach, and we'll just take this deal. There we go. I'm so hugely under budget, but once people get non-tendered, we'll see how much money we actually have. I'm also going to go ahead and increase ticket prices again. Try to make us some more cash. Because I do think we can probably sell more tickets than we have been. See, is anyone else charging double digits for tickets yet? No, I'd be the only person. Interesting. I'm gonna do it anyway, and we'll see how that works over the course of the season. Yeah, we're over budget by about 2 million. I mean, I can't control who signs anyway, so I don't know why you're bothering me about it. Because Goro demands to sign everybody. Is Reese Dyson a good coach? He's actually a really good manager. I would love to promote you, or I'd love to give you an extension for right now, but I do think you'll be promoted in the near future here. A Cy Young, or sorry, a Pitcher of the Year for a Makapane. Very nice. Very nice indeed. And he split first base with his teammate, or first place with his team, which is pretty cool. Where did Gunter end up in the MVP voting? As long as he's top 5, that's what Matt. Really? I mean, I guess, but I think you're overvaluing offense a bit. But whatever. Whatever. Oh, we do, don't we? Okay. We've locked up Bonet, which I'm really happy about. He strikes me as a very good value. And he's a team captain, too. Hopefully, getting a permanent starter's role will make him happy and productive. And then we're going to figure this out. The Brewers and the Morgans get promoted, and the Castles and the Teslas both go to the EJBL. I'll give you an extension. That's fine. Nobody is eligible. Okay. Oh, snap. I completely forgot about Pekarsky. I'd actually meant to try to sign him for a cheaper salary if we could. Interesting. Alright. So we have very little money to spend. Oh, we have about 3 million to spend. That's not terrible. What do we need right now? We need relievers, some of which is going to come from people being promoted. Like Dvorak. Our new pal Nicodem has a fair chance to actually make the roster, potentially. We do need outfielders. We have some really good starters. We just need some quality reserves. And maybe that's a Jarvie, right? Like maybe Jarvie finally gets a chance to stick in the majors after his years of getting like 100 at bats a year. I think it's kind of tempting, but let's see. Let's see who is available. I'm gonna trade Bob Coles and try to get a quality outfielder. Okay, Neumann is already very intriguing to me. Good God, game. You're really interested in getting rid of outfielders. Either that or you just love Bob Coates for some reason. I mean, Joseph Lott's is already looking damn impressive. I like you a lot. Alright, what if we do this? What if I ask for Maharbe and Sergiani? Next up, let's look at free agency and let's see who we might be able to add of interest. I'm worried about another Orfanide situation. Remember we played a bit of a bandbox? And I really don't think it's a great idea to get another pitcher with low movement. Otherwise, I'd very strongly consider it. Ellers is intriguing to me. He's a borderline starter. I don't think he'd start on my team, but I do like his durability. So I think we start with offering him a deal. And then I think we just... oh no, sorry, I did want to see if there's a good all-around starting second baseman that we could afford. We could bring back Creed and O'Reilly, which would be funny. I don't know that I want to, though, is the thing. Yeah, I think we're just going to advance time a little bit, see if I got that trade. You can absolutely have Barbier. Done. That gives us a couple of high potential outfielders who could be very nice. Robbie Ward, man. You've got so much potential, but you have done literally nothing to capitalize on that potential. You've played really poorly in limited playing time, and I don't think I can keep you around. But what if I got a prospect from you? I'm already getting a ton of interesting offers. It's going to come down to who is the best fit. I think Rosalito would be a very good fit for us, and he also offers the potential to be a nice reserve, and I think that's really valuable. So I'm gonna go ahead and not waste any time. I'm gonna go ahead and grab him, unless Chusuke Yamada here is something special, which it doesn't look like he is. Yeah, agreed. And then I will add Rosito immediately to the 40 man. Hmm. Brincone just seems like somebody I don't care enough about. I'd rather save some room on the roster for a couple of Rule 5 picks. I don't think we're going to fuck around with free agency too much this year. I don't think there's a lot of value in it. I don't think so. I don't think Enriquez does much for me. Like, I agree that he's a decent catcher, and he's got... Maybe he is good. Man... Man, catcher has been an area of weakness for us, hasn't it? I would do it for Young. Let's see if... Let's see if that gets you excited. No, you're asking for really good players here. I could offer you Landry. Yeah, this makes sense to me. Done. It does kind of gut my financial flexibility, but we've desperately needed someone who can really help out our catching staff. And I think this is what that does. I think we get a stable presence who's actually developed, who's actually hit at a fairly high level. And I think it's going to help us tremendously. So I think this was a good risk to take, and I think we'll be better off for it. Nope. Mm-mm. Not for a 1 year rental. I don't think that's a good fit. Plus, I'm giving up way too much for it, too. Way too much. Alright, what do I want in the Rule 5? I would love to get a reliable reliever and maybe a high upside outfielder. Well, another high upside outfielder. I'm gonna grab Aldous Rhodes here. For sure. Capitan is still here. I think we take him and we tell him never to pitch again. I think he's been distracted by pitching and he's not making the best use of his talents. So I'm going to take him and we're going to tell him no more pitching for you ever again. Oh, good. You've already decided to abandon the idea of him ever pitching again, which is perfect for me. I'm going to go ahead and put you on the IL. Oh, you're until spring training starts, that's right. The thing is, I like Quentin Brown a lot. I don't want to get rid of him yet. I just wanted a more established starting catcher that he could learn from. Let's not lose sight of the fact that the man went from freaking A-ball to the majors in one season. I think he's still got a fair bit of growing to do. Valtteri is fine, but he's basically all about the defense. Damn, Garrick Faber. You got paid, son. I mean, thanks for eventually signing, you freaking jerk, leaving us hanging like that. Alright, let us immediately go and do one last round of international scouting. This is not a draft that's that interesting, except for Miranda. Miranda, I think, is the guy you empty out your class for. Or you empty out your spending cap for. I mean, I'm sorry that the fans are sad, but I wasn't going to bring him back. I never had planned to do it. My Phoenix is a 90 fucking 3. I'm not concerned about people feeling grumpy. You can get the fuck over it. I should probably actually drink the drink that I opened like 2 hours ago. Oh god, my cap is tiny. I'm going to try to overwhelm Pardo. He's actually a little better than Miranda, even if he's a little bit younger. Oh, really? I don't have any budget for it. Oh my gosh, okay. I'm going to offer you what I can. I don't want him. Yeah, we got Pardo, which is pretty cool. Um, we are just making money. Strategiousness. I know it's checking. Okay, I was making sure that we weren't going to get cut off at the knees there. Okay. Damn, Pardo, you instantly hit my system and you get better. I love to see that shit. I love how my former Soviet Union division now contains like only 2 teams from the former Soviet Union. It's kind of neat. Alright, Dvorak, Luciardi, Demko, Rincon, Rosito. I kind of the idea of giving Pancakes a little bit of Major League experience just for fun. We'll do the same here for Twominen. Mr. Jarvie can be invited to string training as a treat. Alright, let's go ahead and sim some spring training games. Dude, could you fucking not? Please? Like, every freaking year. Oh my god. I am concerned about our bullpen this year. And maybe something we have to invest in as the season progresses. I mean, damn, Pekarsky. That's pretty wild. That is pretty wild. Pancakes just took a big step forward. That's pretty neat. I still don't want to mess with him, though. I still want him to go back to the minors for at least one more season and develop. Let's play one more game in case someone gets hurt. There you go. Alright, so Pancakes is going to go... I think he's more than earned consideration for AA. Just want to put him there. Calandrini is a better defender, but Demko is a better hitter. And it's not particularly close. We'll figure it out here in a minute. I would like Twominen to learn how to hit before he gets meaningful at-bats. So, here you go. Rosito can enjoy some time in AAA. There's your starting outfielders. I love the fact that Capitan already looks like shit, but that's fine. How many pitchers are we rocking? We have 14 pitchers. Probably need to get rid of 2 of them. 1. 2. I'm not carrying 3 catchers, and you can't make me. And then one of these infielders is gonna go. I'm honestly really considering sending down Calandrini, but it probably needs to be Demkov, because Demkov isn't the defender that Calandrini is. And Calandrini is a bit more valuable for that reason. Go ahead and redo your thing. Really? I mean, I don't mind playing Eisner at second, but I was kind of hoping that we would play... Oh, Anibal is DHing against lefties. Okay, that's fine. Schmidt is getting playing time too, so that's good. Our rotation is terrifying, but this bullpen does not really have a big-time pitching star. It's got good pitchers, but hardly any of them would be what I'd consider great. The thing is, though, I don't have any money. I don't have any money, so unless I can free up some cash, I can't really upgrade the bullpen. Trading a Derek Morgan might actually make sense, but we'll see what happens here. I almost have to opt out of Langlat's contract, right? Like, I almost have to at the end of the season. Because he's just not worth $6 million. He hasn't been worth $6 million for a while. Yeah, I have to do it. I cannot choose not to do it. We need the money. So it's going to be an easy layup choice at the end of the year. Why the fuck are you upset with me? Why are you being so damn weird? Let's try to change this one. I literally cannot extend Monomachus when I don't fucking have him anymore. Really, kid? Let's bring up Rosito, I guess. I gotta get somebody to fill in when we need to. Okay, partial month, not going to look at anything yet. Okay, so here's our bullpen partially fixed. See you later, Dvorak. I'm going to ship you to the 60-day IL. and then we're going to advance to the end of the month. Why are we playing so poorly this year? You are in the starting lineup, aren't you? No. The AI, the manager is starting Quentin Brown. Guys, I did not pay money to get him, for him not to play. You will be starting him at catcher from here on out, manager. Alright, what's the deal? Why are we losing so many games? You know what, Crossbow? Get fucked, okay? Look, I didn't necessarily think we'd, like, win the World Series, but how has the bottom dropped out? The offense is great. The pitching is pretty solid. Yeah, Makapane's off to a rough start. But we're not that bad. I don't know. Friends, I will be back momentarily. And we are back. Okay. I don't know what's going on here. We're the best offense and the worst pitching staff. And it is certainly not what I expected when we started the season. So, let's check on a couple of things here. One reason the pitching staff are really bad is the defense is really bad. And we're going to go by fielding stats. I mean, Calandrini being a bad shortstop isn't a great look. I think we have to move on from him. I think we have to. I think whatever value he had to the team in the past is gone. And he's hurting us by being in the lineup. Like, I don't mind that my center fielder's range isn't perfect, but this is a giant issue. So I'm going to go ahead and try to trade him. Now, I don't expect to get very much for him. But I do think we need to upgrade at shortstop, regardless of the price. And so, I'm going to send him to the minors. And then the question becomes who plays shortstop. If all I care about is defense, then Twominin seems like a pretty good bet. And he is having a pretty solid season at single A. But it's probably not good enough. Not for what we're actually looking for. There is, of course, shifting Eisner over to shortstop. That's definitely a possibility. I'm going to promote Demkov, and we're going to let Goro figure out how he wants to set up the lineup. Apparently Demkov's going to be playing shortstop now. That's fine. I'd rather that than let Calandrini clog up shortstop, at least for the short term. But the thing is, you don't go 18-31 without something drastically bad happening. I think the defense is part of it, and hopefully upgrading at shortstop will fix that. Although, is he really an upgrade? No, he's not. You know what? Fuck it. If we're gonna go defense, we're gonna go defense. We're gonna put in Tolman in. And see where that gets us. Okay. Next on our list is where else can we upgrade? Because they got to get a better defense. If we can get a really good defense, it should help kickstart the pitching staff. Enriquez hasn't played that much, so I can't really judge his offense yet. We're doing pretty good in the top part of the lineup, though. Like, 1 through 6, we have a really strong lineup. Amakapane isn't striking people out as much. This is a warning sign. I think this is the bigger deal, but this is troubling. But we can work on that. I'm overpaying for mediocrity so much with Derek Morgan because he won't stop fucking walking people. Would anybody take Derek Morgan off my hands? You know what? I will fucking take Seth Brown over Derek Morgan because it gets rid of this giant... Yeah. I will take it. But how is Seth Brown $5 million and it's somehow cheaper? You know what? I'm not going to question it. But yeah, Derek Morgan had performed at a mediocre level and got a giant contract, and I just don't think it was a good move. I basically overpaid him for 2030. When he had a really good season, just lost pretty much every game. Mostly because of the walks, which won't be an issue with Sepp. Alright, let's go up to the first player draft. We've got to get a big-time prospect, even if it means going over a slot. There are some really good players in this draft, which is good news. Alright, so you got 4 players here, one of them who is relatively close to Major League ready. Let's go through each one of them. If I want the best athlete, it's Ohhhh. He's a really good offensive player who can handle both second base and shortstop at a pretty high level. He's not a great leader, but that's okay. I have plenty of leaders. Sebastian Duclos, I like him a lot, but I am concerned about him. I am concerned that his power doesn't develop, in which case we end up with nothing. Tom Pablos is just a really good hitter, but he's not a very good outfielder. He's not a center fielder. Not even a little bit. And then Pim Vandenberg is a good all-around... He has a lot of talent, but I'm concerned about his ability to do it. I'm not going to overthink this. I'm going to take Ohhhh, excuse me. I think he's a really good fit for our prospect pool. Alright, next up... Oh snap, Nicolas Blanc is actually a pretty decent player, and he's already very close to Major League ready. He wouldn't need a whole lot of seasoning. Oh, dip. Yeah, I'm not gonna overthink this. I'm gonna go ahead and take him. And then and then I can send Tolman back to the minors and let him work on his bat a bit more. Good hitter, though. Kim Moon-jung keeps falling, which I find really interesting. I don't mind having high greed. I think I will go ahead and take him. Still got a few greens left. Torbjorn, I don't think so. I do like this kind of player, mostly because the high athleticism means they'll fit in nicely. I think Mr. Norbert here. Plus he's Czech. We always gotta get the hometown kids where we can. Brother Maynard. I like Loring here a good bit, actually. Let's grab him. I mean, I will take Torbjorn if no one else wants him, because he's just going to keep falling. Then I see no reason not to give him a shot. I'm just going to go ahead real quick and auto-complete the draft. I don't think there's anybody else here that I can get ultra excited about. I like the mix in this playthrough of players who are both a long ways away from the majors and players who are ready to go from day one. I think that's really interesting, and it makes the draft a bit more valuable than the Major League draft is, where hardly anybody is playing in the big leagues that quickly. We're going to check on 12-minute. If he is hitting quite... Oh, I'm already over my... Yeah, I can't sign anybody else. Oh well. I'm going to go 12-minute 1 month in the majors just to see if he can hit it all. But if he can't, then I will most definitely... I'll call up Blanc. Okay, so Schmidt is back. Lovely. Let's get rid of Rosito. And activate Schmidt. Wouldn't it be embarrassing as shit if I got fucking relegated? But it looks like it might happen. Because we're just not pitching. I don't know why we're not pitching, but we're not. Alright, time to pull out the big guns. Oh, but you're such a good pitching coach. Yeah, firing him right now doesn't help. I don't have a better pitching coach. I'm gonna get fired, guys. I think we're gonna need to find a new team. Just because my pitching side collector decided that pitching is optional this year. I do want to keep around. Our team trainer is pretty solid, and I think he can get an extension. I really do like Nusic, and I like how it helps us find people that are ready to contribute right away. So I will also offer him a new deal. And then all of the minor leaguers can have... I'm going to tell you this much, though. I'm not going to re-sign Popmeyer. This partially falls on him, that the entire pitching staff melted down. And yeah. It's not a great look. I can keep Harrer. Nikolai Gane sucks. Sribov is mediocre at best. I think I can let both of them walk. We seem to get on a bit of a hot streak, and I think we can pull ourselves out of the basement. Crespo's gonna miss 4 weeks. Whatever you gotta do, boo. I think we bring Dvorak back. I think he can have a bit of playing time. Really? None of my fuckers make the top 10. I mean, I guess I get why they're not ranking super high, because we are ranking for ability and not tools, so we get the players that are likelier to succeed. But Ellers and Brunner are only 2 all-star pitchers. Julia made it, and I think that's it on the position player front. I mean, let's be realistic. Probably should have St. Petersburg is really fucking good this year. So only coming with 3 all-stars isn't the end of the world. But damn, son. I mean, I kind of like Ellers, so I don't think I'm gonna do that. I mean, if you give me like one interesting prospect, I'll do it. The problem is you're giving me a bunch of mid-tier prospects, and that's not really what I'm looking for. There goes Twelmanen. Has Nicholas Blanc signed a contract yet? He has. Welcome to the big leagues, my friend. You've got to give me more than this. Like, I'm not even saying that I won't trade Ellers, but you're giving me, like, mediocre prospects, because you think I'd rather make a bad trade than no trade. And that's not how I roll. I'd much rather make a good trade. Alright, so this is kind of a lost season already. It's highly unlikely we're going to make the playoffs. Highly unlikely. Our pitching has improved significantly, though, so the pitching staff is getting its shit figured out. I just think we're in too deep a hole. I think we're in too deep a hole, and that we're just not going to come out of that hole. But maybe we will. I don't know. You need to stop fucking batting him so high in the order. Like, this has to stop. Bat him like 7th or 8th, but don't bat him 2nd. You're hurting the lineup. I mean, he can ignore me, but let's see if he doesn't. Because he's playing way too many meaningful at-bats for... Yeah, you just fucking ignore me. Goro, this might get you fired. You can't be playing a mediocre... Oh my god, he just got a giant contract, too. I think I gotta can Goro. If we don't make some sort of turnaround and finish near 500, I think we probably have to fire him in the offseason. Because this is fucking stupid. You're only setting up the lineup because Gunter is fast and Eisner... Gunter is fine where he is. I'm not going to mess with him. But batting Eisner high is silly, especially when there's players of his level or higher that are even better. Like, I don't know why Alex Gaudin is batting 9th. I truly don't understand it. He's having a phenomenal season. I don't understand your lineup construction at all. I think maybe you're drunk. It's the only logical explanation for why you're so bad at this. Yeah, you do like your like power over speed. Sample lineup. I truly don't understand why he's getting that many at bats. But yeah, like this is a weird lineup to go for. I don't hate it, but it's weird that you would take a hitter that mediocre and bat him so low. But whatever. Wendell Schmidt with regular playing time is finally showing he can be a useful offensive force. If he could stay healthy, of course. That is becoming an issue with him. So who do I want to trade and what do I even want in return? Like, Langlet would be the obvious one to trade. But I don't think that's gonna work. The gunning game is gonna give me anything interesting for him. I wouldn't mind trading like Treppel or Ellers if I can get a nice return, but I don't think I will. That's the issue. The kinds of players we want to add are the kinds of players that aren't being offered. And I don't really feel like adding an overpriced veteran. I'd love to add Lucas Martins. He's such a good player, but no. That's not going to happen either. Why would you offer a player with this much upside up on... Up for trade? What? I'm going to offer Langlet and see... No, not Julia. I said Langlet. And just see if that gets us anywhere. Oh, Warsaw can't afford it. Okay. I'm not going to do that then. Nope, I'm not going to bother. Yeah, I don't care about trade deadline day. There's nobody interesting to me. I will try to trade Ellers and see if I can get something decent in return. But then again, like, if I trade him, he's like the one pitcher who hasn't been terrible. I don't know that I want to make that particular decision yet. But maybe I will trade him. I only want prospects, though. Ideally, good players who are close to the big leagues. Dudek is a weird fucking player. I don't think I could trade for him in good conscience without something else in the deal to mitigate my risk. Like, I would do it for Dudek, and that's... you don't have anybody else. Yeah, I don't think so. I don't think so, well... I like Rosenwald a lot. I think he's a good player. He's really solid. I think maybe Rosenwald is the pick, unless Collapse is just amazing. And he's not. Yeah, I'll take Rosenwald. I think he's a good player. Then I will promote probably Bhutan. The other player worth considering a trade for is, I mean, I could trade Enriquez and then call up Huey Bird. But I think that's a better move next season. I don't think I want to do it this season. I don't think that helps us right away. Fuck you. I think I'm going to opt out of Crossbow's contract, too. He hasn't been that impressive. And he's been hurt a lot, too. I think we're going to opt out of both those deals, free up some cash. As long as I don't get fired, I could very easily see this getting us next season being a nice little bounce back year. I genuinely think that's a possibility, maybe even a strong possibility. But it's all going to depend on how some of the youngsters develop. And then I'm going to sim all the way up to roster expansion. Really, Julia? You're becoming a liability, my guy. I don't know why you keep getting hurt, but it's becoming very frustrating. I need another hitter. I'll call up Roban. I don't mind. I'm gonna let you rehab until rosters expand, and then I'll call you up. Just in case you get hurt again. Roban's gonna retire. Hey, at least you got some more reps in the big leagues, right? I think Twelman goes right back to the minors. Unless Blanc is like the worst, and he clearly is not. I suppose turned in a worthy rookie season. I think there's more here, but I can't get too upset about a league average hitter that also plays pretty good defense. I think that's an incredibly valuable package, to say the least. Okay, so Crespo is gonna get activated. And then I'm just waiting for Julia to heal, basically. Once he's healthy, then he'll get called up. Bajrami, this shit has to stop, my dude. How is her injury proneness not fucking wrecked at this point? I genuinely don't know. I mean, someone's got to be a reliever for us. Shorth, I guess, can do it for now. I guess. We get Julia back. That's very welcome. Very welcome indeed. If we can put together a mini run here, we could still make the playoffs. And this is a weird kind of thing. Yeah, I don't know what we have to guarantee our playoff spot. Oh, because you're doing it by winning percentage. Okay, I think you do it by the... Yeah, I'm also way ahead in the loss column, even though I'm also ahead in the win column, so... if I can win or tie this last game, and it's against Amsterdam, so if I win or tie this game, then we're in. Because it'll be just a percentage point ahead of them. But if we can't, then we don't. So let's hope we do well. And we won. Incredibly, despite how awful the beginning of the season has been, we ended up making the playoffs. Whew. Alright, friends, let's get the playoff roster set. Or let's get the roster set, excuse me, for the playoffs. I don't need Robin. I really don't need him to. If I have Julia and Schmidt healthy, I'll keep Julia and Schmidt. How has Johnny Jarvie done this season? Pretty okay, actually. He barely plays, but at least he's been on the Major League roster this whole season, which is quite a nice look for him. And see you later, Hjorth. I mean, St. Petersburg was fucking incredible this season, so I don't know that we'll get past the first round, but it'd be cool if we did. We're making a series of it. Both games have been really close. I mean, if we do win this round and we get Bajrami back, that would be a pretty big deal. But, I mean, I don't think we're going to win this round. I think we're probably out. Yeah. Every game was competitive, but at the end of the day... Yeah, when you're only scoring... I don't know. I don't even know what we fucked up here, except for maybe the pitching. Sap Brown certainly was not that impressive. Carlos Crespo was the dirt fucking worst, though. I mean, he had a chance to be a hero, and I think he shit the bed every time we lost. But look at this fucking meltdown right here. That's a run coughed up. I'm not mad about this game. This is just A really good pitcher out-dueling a really good pitcher. I'm not mad about this game. There's no shame in losing to great pitching performance. This one annoys me, though. And again, look at fucking Crespo. He got so many high leverage assignments, and he just instantly shit the bed when he had the opportunity. With a healthy Bajrami, we'd probably make it out of the first round, but we didn't have that luxury. I mean, we're lucky we won this game at all. Because Crespo apparently enjoys shitting the bed as often as possible in high-pressure situations. Like, look at this shit. Sap Brown turns in a perfectly fine pitching performance, and then you just instantly walk in and give up 3 consecutive hits in a run. This all comes down to one player. It comes down to Crespo. I mean, I know that our bullpen wasn't the greatest this season, but you can't step in there and just completely not even try. Which is what happened. He didn't even try. And so we will happily see the back end of him when I opt out of his deal. A few players retired. That's lovely, I guess. I can't say I really care all that much. I'm hoping I don't get fired, because that was a pretty ginormous... oh, stop. I didn't get fired, which is a great start to our CL season. I'm going to quickly do some international scouting. This is a really good international free agent class, so if we can... If we can spend and scout correctly, I think we could do quite well here. I don't know why I can't run a practice, but sure. Alright, easy choices both. I'm avoiding your contract because you were worthless in the postseason. And this is an even easier one. And let's take a moment to recognize what Langlet has brought to this club and what he has accomplished. He's been a really solid hitter every single season. Provided big moments when we needed them, and even has an MVP to show for it. And yet I can't keep him around. I cannot afford to spend $6 million on a player like that. So I think we're going to have to avoid his contract and maybe see if we can bring him back cheaper. Oh no, 2 whole fucking years. Holy shit, man. Alright. People retiring. Our bench coach retired. I get another 1-year deal. And yeah, we need to get a new pitching coach. We'll do that next episode, though. Let's talk about what did go well this season, though. Let's have a chat about what went well, what didn't go well, and how we can improve for going forward. I did not see Wilhelm Danneberg exploding like he has. Like, this is awesome. This is a player that we acquired in the draft in the 6th round. And he just takes the league by storm and just utterly dominates. This was a fantastic season. I hope we see more of this from him in the future. Because that's going to be really helpful. Gabriel Gunter has now put in 3 consecutive top seasons. I think he's definitely here to stay and is going to be a valuable team member for years to come. Sayep Julia, after his awful 2031, is back to where I think he should be. I think this is probably his ceiling, though. I don't see him playing a lot better than this. But I think if he just gives us a couple more seasons like 2030, that's going to be a huge boon, too. I am concerned about his ability to stay healthy, though. That's going to be something we'll have to think about as time progresses. Langlet, I hope you catch on with another team or even come back to us for a reduced salary. But man, it's been a ride with you, and I hope you have a great career. Eisner had a surprisingly good year, and I have to admit I was not sold on him to begin the year. But he really turned it around, and I think his overall profile is going to make him a really solid player. I'm really happy about him. Godin is a really good hitter, but I do think Pancakes is going to be forcing the issue as soon as this year in spring training. Enriquez was fine. I don't want to come in here and tell you he was awful. I don't want to tell you he was wonderful, but he was fine. I think he stabilized catching a bit, and I definitely think we'll enjoy having him for at least one more season. Nicholas Blanc came in hot off of the college diamond and instantly became a replacement level player. That is not meant to be an insult at all. That's actually meant to be praise. I think Blanc is going to be our shortstop for the foreseeable future. I don't see anybody challenging that. To come in off the cold and play at this high a level is really impressive, and I'm sure we can only expect to see more. Wendell Schmidt is beginning to concern me. I don't know why he can't hit for power. I love the batting average, don't get me wrong. But a player with this profile should be hitting at a slugging percentage well over 400. And he's not. I don't know what his deal is, but it is becoming a concern. Anibal is fine. He's not great, but he's okay. I think Anibal's we probably have to trade at this point. I just don't see him being a top player with us. And he's an awful second baseman. So I think Anibal might be a good trade candidate if we can get some decent value for him. Quentin Brown really struggled this season. That's actually 2 seasons in a row that he's struggled. I don't know what the answer is here. I don't know, we just need to trust him and he'll figure it out, or what's going to go on with him. But it is a concern. Okay. I mean, Amakapane had his roughest season as a pro and still turned in a really good year. I'm continually impressed with how good he is pitching-wise when he doesn't have a dominant... he doesn't have great velocity, but he's just a really good pitcher that's always available, and he's a critical piece to our success. The strikeouts being down concern me, though. I don't think he's losing velocity, but it is a concern. It is definitely a concern. And hopefully he can have a nice little bounce back year. Seth Brown was somebody we brought in as an afterthought to cover for Derek Morgan when we traded him. And he has been worth every penny. I can't afford to bring him back, but he was incredible for us down the stretch, and I think was a big reason why we did make the playoffs at the end there. Pekarsky was really good. Notice how the ERAs are right around the FIPS, though, which means eventually it's settled out. I can move columns, right? I want to put FIP right next to ERA because it makes it easier to see. This tells you who is most likely affected by defense, and it looks like the one most victimized is Amakapane. Evan Gallagher was pretty decent. We had a pretty good starting rotation. What we lacked was a good bullpen. It's like we didn't have good pitchers. It's that the pitchers we did have didn't stay healthy. For this pitching set to beat its best, we need Bajrami and we need Crespo. Crespo was not healthy very often. Neither was Bajrami, and Crespo is why we lost in the playoffs. So Crespo is very clearly not sticking around. So rotation was good. The rotation was very good. I don't know who our next big starter is going to be. It's probably somebody currently in the minors. But we'll have a lot more money to spend, and so we can be a bit more strategic about who we try to bring back and things like that. I do want to make one decision before I forget about it, though. I'm going to offer both Brown and Langlet qualifying offers. I think that's going to be a huge help to us as we go forward. Because I honestly hope that neither one of them takes it, but if they do both take it, then I'm happy with that. I'm happy to have both players on a reduced salary. What does Brown want in an extension? Brown actually wants less than that, so I will not be taking that. Yeah, Langlet wants the same salary, so I think he's a good risk. I don't want to take the chance that Brown just takes the qualifying offer, because he's not worth that much money to me. Not when I have a pretty good pitching pipeline. I would bring Treple back if we can get him for... Nope, he wants a giant raise, and I'm not going to give that to him. So, that concludes today's episode. I hope you guys have enjoyed. If you have, please remember to like and subscribe. Comments are always appreciated. But until next time, this has been Guardian. Thank you for watching, and I bid you